transportation needs. Hope is here.
A pleasant good morning. It is 8:38. WGAN Morning News is in progress. I'm Mike Violet. Ken Altshuler is right over there. And right over there, joining us on the phone, Republican candidate for the 2nd District Congressional seat, a Waterville homeboy, Bruce Poliquin. Bruce, good morning. How are you?
Morning, Mike. I'm doing fine. Good morning, Ken. How are you fellas doing this week?
Good, thanks,
We're
Bruce.
doing good, and you must be feeling good about this Washington Post election lab thing that says you've got, by gosh, a 64% chance of winning.
Yeah, it was. I was pleased with with seeing that, Mike. But frankly, it confirms what we're hearing on the ground. We are a very hardworking, highly skilled campaign team. We've got a small staff, an army of volunteers. And we are pancake breakfasts and civic groups and parades and you name it, making sure we get our message out. And what I'm hearing, Mike, is that folks are just sick and tired of the bickering down in Washington, the finger pointing. There's all this political posturing to try to win the next election. And what folks want are people who have different sets of skills. I have 35 years of growing the economy and creating jobs, and they want people who go down there and, yes, debate, and, yes, be principled and stand up for what they believe and represent their constituents, but get the best deal you can and move forward. And that's what business people do. Politicians bicker. Business people negotiate for the best deal they can. They solve the problem. They move forward, and that's what people want.
Now, Bruce, I have to point out that in the primary, you and Kevin Ray were not what I would call not bickering. So, isn't it a tad disingenuous to say that you need to collaborate when that was a fairly, as Maine goes, nasty primary?
I don't think so, Ken, but thanks for asking the question. I remember when I became state treasurer in January 2011, one of the things that was presented in our labs was a $4.3 billion shortfall in our pension fund for our teachers and state workers. And, it's just something that couldn't continue. The retirement benefits for these folks that were depending on them were not secure because the state couldn't afford it. So I helped lead the effort to reform that program. We saved the benefits, and we eliminated $1.7 billion in debt that led to a dramatic cut in government spending that led to the largest income tax cut in state history, mostly for the working poor, by the way. And to do that, Ken, I met one-on-one with legislators, Republicans, Democrats, the few independents we had. I testified in front of the Appropriations Committee. I met with union representatives for teachers and state workers. I went on public television and discussed the issue. I went on Your Talk Radio, and I wrote op-eds. So business folks are able to negotiate, get the best deal, and move forward and fix the problem. And that's what I'm very good at, and I look forward to having that opportunity, hopefully down in Congress. Talking
to Bruce Poliquin, 2nd District Republican candidate for the congressional seat now held by Mike Mishu. Bruce, I got to ask you about this. I think it's pertinent given what you have worked for, what you did work for when you were Governor LePage's treasurer. This Alexander Group thing and the decision by the administration not to go after the money, the $475,000. Bill Nemitz wrote a column about this, and I rarely agree with him on anything, but he mentioned yesterday that if this were a Democrat that had done this, the Republicans would be railing about waste in government. And I know LePage is your former boss, but why don't you go after that money, and how did that happen?
Well, first of all, actually the governor was not my boss, Mike.
You know what I mean, Bruce. Let's not split hairs. Come on.
Well, no, what I'm saying is the treasurer is a constitutional officer of an independent platform. Yeah, okay. But as far as that's concerned, that's a state issue, Mike. I'm talking about federal issues, and let me give you an example. If you look at how important this race is, remember this is a federal seat, this is not a state seat, is that there are 21 members of Congress, members of the House of Representatives in New England, 21. Every single one is a Democrat. This is the only seat in our 2nd district that is projected to change from Democrat to Republican hands. And if we win this seat, it means that the state of Maine, in the 2nd district in particular, will have a voice at the table, a seat at the table when Republicans are highly likely to retain the majority in the House of Representatives. Now, going beyond that, Mike, if the Senate changes from Democrat to Republican majority, which is getting more and more likely, it means that the state of Maine will also be at the table in the majority with Senator Collins, who's likely to win re-election.
That's a great job dodging my question, Bruce. Can I try it again? If the shoe were on, you're a citizen of Maine. You're going to vote for governor.
You helped pay for some of this money we lost.
It's not money's coming out of your pocket. Doesn't that bother you?
Here's what I know, fellas, is I'm running for Congress. It's a federal issue, federal state rather. This is a state issue, and let me tell you how I respond to that. And I'm doing the best that I can with it, Mike. But when I was state treasurer, I sat on a number of different boards. One was the Maine State Housing Authority. And when I discovered that we had 6,400 families, 100 families on a waiting list, and we were spending almost $300,000 on one-bedroom apartments, I stood up. I was heard.
Yeah.
We changed the process. We changed the people.
Right.
We helped more people. So I have no tolerance for wasteful government spending.
Bruce, let me ask you this a different way. We've done Bruce Pollock when he's a Republican candidate for the 2nd congressional seat. You want to talk about how we operate as a business. So let me ask you, as a businessman, you contract with somebody for $950,000 to do something. They screw it up. Don't you say, hey, buckaroo, pay me back what I paid you. I'm going to sue your ass.
You have plenty of people in the governor's office, Ken, to call on this. I'm running for Congress. And the vision that I'm putting forward to our families in the 2nd District is very clear. I have a record of creating jobs and growing the economy for 35 years. My record as state treasurer is of eliminating debt, ending wasteful spending, and creating more jobs and more opportunities and more freedom for our families. Now, my opponent, who's an awfully nice person, has a very different record and a very different vision for our state. If you look at the last, dozen years or that she was in, I guess it was 10 years she was in the legislature, Ken, is that we have a state that couldn't control its spending. She voted repeatedly for more spending, more welfare, some of the highest taxes in the country, $500 million in hospital debt, and our kids can't make it in the state. That's her record. I have a very different record.
But Bruce, you're picking and choosing. See, you're picking and choosing what state issues to talk about. You want to talk about, the housing. You want to talk about spending, but you don't want to talk about the Alexander Group, and you don't want to talk about you and Kevin Ray going at each other like cats and dogs.
No, what I'm talking about, Ken, is what is our vision?
Hey, we're trying, Ken.
Maine,
we're trying, brother.
You guys, listen, you're doing your job.
Thank you.
Good for you guys. I am trying to present a vision for our 2nd District families that is very different from the vision that Senator Kaine presents. We need to fix the mess down in Washington, not make it worse. If we have a government down there, Ken and Mike, that starts spending what it takes in, and we start working towards a balanced budget as quickly as we can, we have a credible plan to start paying off the debt. We get rid of these ridiculous business regulations that are smothering our economy. We reform the tax code so we become competitive with other countries. And finally, we have an energy policy that fully develops our natural resources here in this country to increase supply and drive down price. We will have a flood of investment in this country. Businesses will be created, new businesses. Current businesses will expand and grow. We'll have more jobs, more opportunities for our families in the 2nd District and throughout the country. That is my vision. My opponent's vision is very different. It is government is the answer, more spending, more debt, higher taxes, and fewer jobs.
So let me try going in a different direction, Bruce. The seat that you're trying to get.
Two wonderful guys, Ken. Both grew up on Violet Avenue. I love it. Two Central Maine guys.
Let's try this. The seat that you're trying to get has been held by Democrats for a heck of a long time, whether it's John Baldacci before and now Mike Mishu. John, I'd call a moderate. Mishu, I think now is a flat-out liberal. He may not have been 10 years ago when he was doing that blue dog Democrat thing. But my question is, what's different about the district now that makes the Washington Post think and you think you can win this thing?
Well, the 2nd District, as you know, we both grew up in Central Maine, Mike, and it's always been more conservative than the 1st District. And folks are very frugal up there. They know what it's like. They know what the value of a dollar is. They're hard workers. And they are sick and tired of watching their kids after Easter and Christmas and Thanksgiving dinner pack up the car and move down to New Jersey and Connecticut. They're tired of it. They know that what we've been doing in Congress, in Washington, is wrong. We cannot continue on this path of spending we can't afford and taxes we can't afford and jobs that are leaving the country and leaving the district. So that is different. And this didn't happen overnight, Mike. You remember when we grew up on Violet Avenue. I mean, my brother Jim, who's no longer with us, he worked at the Cascade Spinning Mill in Oakland. I worked at the Wyandotte Spinning Mill, the night shift down in Sydney. My grandmother Paulkin made shirts at Hathaway Shirts down on Water Street. And all of these businesses were doing very well, and families could make it. It's not the case now. And these problems, Mike, these were not, the clouds didn't open up, and then all of a sudden these problems were saddled on our second district and our country. They were created by individuals that we elect to go to Washington, Augusta, and City Hall to make these decisions. And it's time, and I think the folks in the second district realize this, to get someone who has a lifetime of experience growing the economy and creating jobs. That's what I have. My opponent is a career politician who's never grown the economy, never created the jobs. And that's what I'm going to win this election.
Well, we're glad we gave you an opportunity for the campaign stop, Bruce. Thanks for joining us. Bruce Pollock from the Republican candidate for the second. We appreciate you calling us, Bruce.
Thanks, Bruce.
Thanks.
Okay, fellas, you bet.
All righty.
Yeah, I wonder if he has a theme. Sorry.
Dodging questions 101.
There you go.
They just, some of them just do it so damn good.